It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 153 today. Really glad that you're with us to enjoy this post-Christmas show. Hopefully you had a great Christmas season. It's not over yet. A lot of people like to have it linger on for a bit, and that's terrific. Stay in the joy of the season for as long as you can. I used to live across the street from an older couple. They had no kids. They were grown and gone. And on the morning of December 26, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd take my dog out for his walk, and their Christmas tree would be in the street, ready to be picked up by the trash guys. They couldn't wait to get it out of their house fast enough. That's a little too quick for me. Hopefully you didn't do that. Just enjoy the season for as long as you can, but hopefully you made it through with flying colors, and you are ready to go, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. So come on in. The pool is fine, ready to go. The hot tub is fired up, going full blast. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right, cold drinks off to the left, hot drinks inside. A hammock outside the left side door. You need a nap, need a break, that's the place to go. Putting greens, plural, outside in the back. And off to the right in the back, a bocce ball court. Help yourself there. You can play as long as you want. Back inside the pool area, back left corner, our famous cigar bar. Help yourself. We have extra lotion, extra towels, extra chairs. If you brought nothing, you can still come in and enjoy clothes-free living for all the right reasons for the next hour. Well, on today's show, Lisa Monroe is coming in right now as we speak. We'll get to her segment in just a moment. And then part one of my interview with Karen Lisa Seeber, a member of Pine Tree Associates Nudist Club in Annapolis, Maryland. We've had Matt and Brady Dell on the show before from that same place. Karen owns a business called Great Full Heart. She gets the whole life thing, gets the whole naturism thing, and she's put it all together, and now she's helping other people discovering all about the joys of living and clothes-free living as well, and used to be on terrestrial radio. How about that? So part one today of my interview with Karen Lisa Seeber. I hear music that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the completely clothes-free, fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm doing well, just on a sugar high from all the stuff we ate at Christmas time, but otherwise fabulous. It's been a fun holiday. A little tired, but it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, don't give up yet. We have our holiday staff party coming up on Monday night. That
yes,
should be exciting. Yeah,
that'll be great. That'll be great.
So add to our sugar high with Jennifer's pies, and who knows what else is coming.
Oh, right? It's kind of crazy, but I think we're going to have a really good variety of food, and everybody's going to have fun, and so it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed when I do your intro? Most people, if they were to do what I did, would say, and now, here she is, whatever, Lisa Monroe. Huh? Good morning, Lisa. How, there'd be a little pause in there.
You're right.
Have you ever noticed how I quickly go from the ridiculously silly voice into my normal voice without breaking? I go, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today? Are you impressed beyond belief or what?
I am definitely impressed beyond belief. You're so talented. What can I say? Mr. The great reaction, just the brain cells work so quickly, whatever. But yes, yeah, it is rather impressive.
All right. I'm just being silly, but I want our listeners to practice that today. Go, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today? No break. No break. You're not allowed to have a break. It'd be very easy to go, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. That'd be easy. We don't do anything easy around here, do we?
Oh no, we don't. Everything's no. We do. It, we do what we can do. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right.
Easy, not easy.
That's right. Well, as everybody knows, we have a Patreon page here. We gave up paid work to do the show for free. A great business decision, except it was not. Although we did it on purpose, no complaints. We turn to you to help us make expenses. You've done that. We appreciate everybody who is a PPP around here, a paying Patreon peep. Lisa Monroe on every show. We highlight two people who have recently joined the fray. Who do we have today?
We have Bruno and we have David, and great to have both of you with us, and especially going into 2026. We hope things will be really great.
Yes. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, David. And thank you to all PPPs. We appreciate you very much. More than if we started talking about how much we appreciate our PPPs, that's all we'd be doing every show.
This is very true.
Yeah.
They're wonderful people to care enough about this show to help us, keep it on the air and everything. So it's just terrific.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, as far as merchandise, it's a lot of people are thinking, well, darn it, I missed the Christmas season. It's 2 days after Christmas. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as order today because you're 363 days before Christmas. You'll be the hero amongst your family and friends that you ordered Christmas goodies so early. What do you think about that?
I think get that Christmas shopping done now. It's a great thing. But I have it on good authority that Santa got kind of tired at delivering a lot of N&M merchandise. So, so there might have been a lot of mugs and towels and all kinds of other goodies that were under people's trees. So that's a great thing.
Yeah,
hope they
very
enjoy.
Much so. Anything to report on merchandise while we're at it?
No, just that it's just really fun to see people actually want to give these to other people for holidays, and they may have given themselves some as well. But it's just great to know that they want to promote the show and that we've given them something that's useful to them as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate that and appreciate your orders. And Lisa, how do they find the merchandise page?
They go to nakednudistandnaturist.com and click on NNN shop and just browse to your little heart's content and hit that cart.
Well, that sounds really easy.
It is easy.
Yeah. All right. So we hope you find that today. All right. We have a letter from Dale. He's the gentleman who drives a truck. He delivers RVs to various stores throughout Canada and throughout northern United States. Just to show you how brilliant Dale is, how he starts off his letter. Hi, Frank and Lisa and Jennifer. I put the pause in there. Dale didn't put the pause, but the way I read it is, hi, Frank. Oh, and Lisa and Jennifer. And again, he didn't put it that way. That's just how I read it. Is that okay or not?
I think that just tells everyone that Jennifer and I are kind of afterthoughts maybe, and it's a Frank show. I don't know, but I don't really believe that, but let's not give them that impression.
That's okay. That's all right. So we're just kidding around. Hi, Frank
yes,
and
we
Lisa
are.
and Jennifer. First paragraph is yours.
In junior high, we stood in line after the shower to get our towel, and you didn't get to leave the locker room without your used towel, which you tossed into the bin on your way out. No one was excused, and everyone got used to it. It taught us how to be respectfully naked with others and was part of our social education.
Well, see, that paragraph, it just says it all, especially
Perfect.
that last sentence. It taught us how to be respectfully naked with others, and it was part of our social education. Duh, that's kind of what schools are supposed to be for. Obviously, the math and science and the English and social studies, whatever, and the arts. But social education is supposed to be a big part of it. Now they've taken that away. And how are you going to be respectfully naked with others if you're not naked at all, right?
And it's very true. And then you begin to think that being naked with others is a terrible thing and it's not to be done. And it's, it becomes it goes down a path that we don't want to go down because it then becomes the kind of the naughty thing. And this is just wrong. It's just wrong.
All right, second paragraph. Since then, society has decided that kids being naked together at school and the gym was somehow a dangerous thing. Wow, he's right. That's exactly how people view it. Like, you saw somebody else naked, you're going to be tainted for life. And, we saw people naked in gyms and locker rooms, and we're not tainted yet. At least I don't think so. What do you think?
I don't think so either. I think we're perfectly normal.
Yeah, it's it, meaning society, has become obsessed with protecting the children. As a result, we have a couple of clueless, socially uneducated generations who are literally scared to death of taking their clothes off. They don't know how to do it because they haven't been taught. Any comments?
No, I think it's very, very true. And I mean that, I believe, as I've always said, in protecting children from things that can be harmful to them. But I do not like the use of, oh, what about the children, that's pulled out in every circumstance, every
Yeah,
time something comes up. It's like, oh, but what about the children? Well, yeah, maybe you should let the kids know what's going on. Maybe, if they're responsibly old enough, and stop this nonsense. So,
yeah, yeah. The I don't want to get too far off of the path here, but they talk about helicopter parents. You're just kind of
hmm
always hovering over your kids. Well, how in the world are they going to learn to make mistakes and get off the pavement after they've been knocked down and so on and so forth? And a classic example is the kid who goes to school and forgets his lunch, and the office lets him use the phone. Hi, mom or dad or whatever. I forgot my lunch. Can you bring it? And the mom or dad says, sure, honey, I'll be right there. Well, what have you taught the kid? You've taught them that they can be totally irresponsible, not plan ahead for their lunch, and you'll save the day.
hmm
And there's some positivity to that because you want your kids to know they can depend on you. But at the same time, it's your job as a parent to teach responsibility to your kids, and they're not doing it that way. Believe me, if a kid goes hungry one day, they're not going to forget that lunch again. And as a side note, I've talked to people in schools, they don't let a kid go hungry. You forget your lunch, we'll slap together a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or
hmm
give you something off the shelf so you don't go hungry. So a kid's not going to starve to death. They will have something to eat for lunch at school. But that's a classic example as well when you talk about naturism and being close free in the locker room. Well, we're helicopters, we're hovering over, and if they see another naked person, I don't know what to do. Well, as Dale has pointed out here, the kids don't know how to be naked. Well, not only kids, but adults now in these last two generations. They don't know how to do it because they haven't been taught, right?
They haven't been, and they haven't learned that it's natural and normal, and so it's become suspicious to them, and something that can't be done, and it's just, as a society, I think we're stepping back too far. There recently there was some articles about how, there's been a push to people to dress better when they go to the airport. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? Yes, people should, because we have also lost that ability
Mm-hmm.
to have it's respect for the body. It's also respect for other people and how you dress for whatever occasion. So, the naked is one thing, but being respectful follows an awful lot of other things, and we're losing that badly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, go to a baseball game today, or just watch one on TV. How's the crowd dressed? T-shirts, shorts. Looks fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Look at a photo of a baseball game from the 1930s.
Mhm.
Men are in suits and ties. Women are in dresses. They dressed up to go out in public, and now we don't. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it's certainly different, and it sends a different message, doesn't it?
I do think it pulls away some of the respect and some of the, the I don't want to say just the realness of it, but I grew up with a mother who dressed up to go to the grocery store. She
Mm-hmm.
would not wear slacks, she wouldn't wear shorts, she wore a dress or a skirt, and that's how I learned to go to the grocery store. So it's hard for me to come back a little bit and not want to say, "Oh, I'm going out, I got to get dressed." So I don't
That's
want to get dressed and go out, but I have to. And so if I'm going out, I have to dress up and be a little bit neater than I would normally be, maybe.
that's right. All right, continuing on with the letter from Dale, the next two paragraphs are yours.
It's no wonder that this generation has gone on to adult life with hangups and fears of nudity. They make the rules and laws, and now we're seeing the results, which are idiotic. It doesn't look like the school policies or showering will be changing anytime soon. So, one of the best ways of making nudity unremarkable to society has been lost. Making nudity unremarkable is the very best way I've heard it put. It's really what we want in the naturist community.
Yeah. Now, what he says applies overall to everybody, but at the same time, I know of situations where younger people, let's say 20 to 40, They're always clothes free. They get together, the clothes come off, they enjoy the night. Never sexual, never inappropriate. But they'll tell me, don't call me a nudist or a naturist. Don't tell me I have to join a club or go to a beach. I'll do what I want when I want. So they might get naked 2 or 3 days in a row and then clothes on for the next 10 because that's what they want to do. So it's not as though everybody's gotten away from being naked, but a lot of people grow up with the fact of the thought, well, I got to keep my clothes on, otherwise somebody might see me and that'd be the end of the earth. And so I just thought I better point that out. Does that make sense?
It does certainly make sense. And, it's okay. Again, we've talked about how you can be a naturist in any way you want. You don't have to label yourself as a naturist either. We've talked about that you can be one and be home or only in your home. But you know what? Just do what you feel comfortable doing. And it doesn't mean you have to become part of any organization or any structure. Just enjoy being naked and not being ashamed of your body and being naked in front of others.
Yeah, very much so. And this is in response, Dale's letters in response to the Jacob Beckert article on losing nudity in the locker room and maybe overall society. But moving along, since the schools are lost to us, the thing that I see going on that really achieves the goal of making nudity unremarkable is the World Naked Bike Ride. It may seem more like a circus to some, and not everyone may agree on what they are protesting about, but the great thing about it is it's naked! Exclamation point, capital letters for naked. It's out there in front of everyone! Exclamation point, and there are a lot of them and more of them every year. There was a time when this event was shocking, and now people accept it and are mostly amused by it. And go ahead and finish up.
Nudists and naturists need to attend the World Naked Bike Rides in force and in numbers. Together, we can wear down society's disapproval of nudity by keeping it out there in front of them until it's all just unremarkable. That's all in capitals and exclamation point. And Dale, you are spot on.
Yeah. And he ends with your friend Dale. I don't think we have a World Naked Bike Ride close to us. There's one in Tampa, I think, and I think there's one in Miami. We're more toward the northeast of the state, and we don't have one here. So maybe we can take a field trip one day and just ride our bikes. Can you still ride a bike, by the way?
I probably never could ride a bike very well, so I can walk along. No, but it's a tandem bike maybe. But no, but I think it's a fabulous event. I think I told you that one of the first times I ever heard about the naked bike ride was I was writing an article, a story that was set in New Orleans, and there's this wonderful earth cam about that has that's set on Bourbon Street. So I kind of sometimes would listen to it while I was writing to kind of keep that vibe going. And it was one Saturday afternoon, and I was starting to hear all this screaming and yelling and going on, and I just kind of glanced over at the screen and went, "Oh my goodness, what's this?" And it was the naked bike ride. Right down the middle of Bourbon Street. People were having a blast. There were kids there, there were adults there were people of all walks of life also in the ride and also on the sidelines, and it was fun, and nobody was having a bad time. So this is what it's about. Maybe some people thought it was funny or weird or comical to be doing that, but the fact is that it was just natural and fun.
And it really is. So, Dale, thank you very much for your letter. And before we go, we wanted to give a little update. We have some news on that Little Mud Creek, which I think was down by Blind Creek Beach, which is a clothing optional beach, and people were traveling north, or they had to. The parking lot was closed at the optional beach, and they'd have to drive north about 3/4 of a mile and then walk back. And some people said, "I'm not walking back. I'm going to get naked right here." And a bunch got arrested. But the really good news is that all charges have now been dismissed. And that was released by the Treasure Coast Naturist. And they talked about all the outcomes of the cases. But they also reminded visitors, hey, don't do this unless it's clearly marked as a clothing optional beach. Don't do this again because we can't guarantee the charges will be dropped again. But maybe at some point they hope law enforcement gets a little wiser on this, because in the indecent exposure statute, which was what they were charged with, it requires lewd or sexual intent for a violation to occur. Mere nudity does not meet that threshold. So just being naked really is not illegal, at least in Florida. But a lot of folks think that it is, and apparently a lot of police officers think that it is too. And so they're hoping, and this is in quotation marks, or educate the new sheriff on the legality of simple nudity. But at the same time, don't go out there and try to be a rabble rouser and create new laws for yourself. Just be careful, be safe, but hopefully everybody will get a clue what this is all about. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that one of the things that I thought about this was because these police officers who were coming across these people who were in the wrong place to be nude kept warning them and kept warning them, and they continued to be there. So there's a sense of responsibility on their part to go, wait a minute, maybe I'm in the wrong spot. But also, I think that the reason they got arrested was that whoever was complaining about this just kept pushing and pushing,
Yeah.
and then the police had no option. So
Yeah.
the thing is, don't put yourself in that situation. We are the responsible people if we're nude. I'm sorry, we're going to have to be. And you don't want this, even though all these charges were dropped, these people's names and faces were still published.
Yeah.
And, maybe they're not ashamed of being naturists because they shouldn't be. But what happens if there were consequences because of work or family that came out of this? So I think there needs to be a sense of responsibility on both sides. The police need to understand there's nothing lewd or sexual about being on a naked beach, and people also need to protect themselves.
Yeah. Now, ironically, these were misdemeanor charges, but these people apparently also cut through a construction zone, and that can actually carry a felony charge. So you get charged worse for that. So I guess the lesson of the day is just be careful, follow the laws, try to change them if you can. But until you change them, don't get out there and flaunt it. And but not that they did. I don't even know what they did. Maybe they were totally unaware of what they were doing in that place. Maybe they thought it was fine. But just be careful. And as TCN says, just be careful and follow the signs. If it says clothing optional area, great, get your clothes off. If it doesn't say that, don't push it and don't assume, and all will be well. But at least all the charges have been dropped, so that's good news.
That's very good news. And I think that, it's a lesson learned for all of us. And I'm sorry that these people had to go through it. But you know what? People, don't be lazy. If you have to walk an extra 50 feet, walk the extra 50 feet because it's to your advantage and to everyone else's advantage who wants to share in the same thing.
Very well said. And Lisa Monroe, with that, let's head for the hills for right now. We'll get to part one of my interview with Karen and Lisa Seeber of Grateful Heart. And as long as you promise to stay clothes-free, we'll get together in about a half an hour or so. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Going for coffee, and I'll be back.
All right, sounds good. The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes sashaying out of the studio. Lisa does a lot around here, our website work, our merchandise work, helps with the show, helps with Patreon, and we appreciate Lisa Monroe in so many ways, so very much. Well, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great! But if not, you can become one today. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation to membership, and within moments, just like Lisa Monroe is and just like I am, you'll be a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that? Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 153 today. And now let's get to part one of my interview with Karen Lisa Seeber, not only a member of the Pine Tree Associates Nudist Club in Annapolis, Maryland, but has her own business in Pennsylvania called Grateful Heart. Part one with Karen Lisa Seeber. We are headed up to the state of Pennsylvania this morning to talk to a lady who discovered naturism, I believe, about 16 years ago, and what a journey she has been on. She gets it. She fully gets it, fully understands everything associated with naturism, not just the physical aspect, but also the mental, the emotional, the spiritual aspect. We found her, or she found us actually, through Pine Tree Associates Nudist Club in Annapolis, Maryland. We've had Brady Dell on before. We've had Matt Dell on before. But this lady, before I give you her name, she is a quantum energy artist, a metaphysical minister. The International Center for Reiki Training awarded her with a certification, which I'll have her pronounce when she comes on. She opens her has opened her own business called Grateful Heart. That's Great, full heart, Grateful Heart. So let's bring her to the show this morning from Pennsylvania, Karen Lisa Seeber. Good morning, Karen. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm doing great. Another sunny start to the day, so we'll see what happens.
That's right. There was an old, well, old for me anyway, comedian who's long passed away, George Burns. And I think he literally lived to be 100. He always said that was his goal to get to 100. And I think he died shortly after his 100th birthday. But he would go on these talk shows and they'd say, how you doing there, George? And he said, every day that I wake up, it's a great day. He was 90, 95, so he was more grateful than the average person. But I kind of look at life that way too. And I think you do as well. You wake up, it's going to be a great day, right?
Absolutely. A great your day is what you intend it to be. With my spiritual energy business, Grateful Heart, it's all about helping people understand just every day is a new day. Any
Yeah.
moment you choose to be different, feel differently, change your beliefs, change your situation, it's all, perception and perspective.
There was a researcher out there who's also passed away several years ago, Dr. William Glasser. I don't know if you know that name, but a lot of educational psychology, but just psychology in general. And I had a chance to be in the room with about 30 people with him as the speaker. And so there was a high focus and energy on what he was saying. And he said, we have to get over the fact when people say, I'm depressed today. He said, no, you're not. You're choosing to be depressed. You are depressing. You are in the depressing mode because you're choosing to not get out of it. Now, some people argue with that, and there are some, clinical depression. That's a different story. He's just talking about, something bad happened to me, therefore I'm depressed. He said, no, something bad happened to you. What'd you learn from it? What can you get out of it? And how can you be better moving forward? Is a better way to look at it. It sounds like you're at least somewhat along those same lines.
Yeah, that pretty much described how visiting my first naturist resort campground was just very healing and very just realizing I decide who I am. I choose how I feel. I don't allow external circumstances to dictate my internal state of being. And that's, and I get into the whole nudist Buddhist perspective of, hey, let it all go, release all desire, just be, and then allow and be in that silent, still space to connect with the divine and realize that that divine is in you and you have the ability to choose and direct your mental emotional energy in a direction that's a more positive, healthy, beneficial kind of energy, and that when you maintain that frequency or vibration, that energy level of trusting in the universe, trust in nature and God, whatever, your particular style of belief is to connect with that higher power and surrender and just realize I'm just this little human ego. I'm on this earth and not quite understanding what's what, because in these days of realizing a lot of things we were taught are not true, well, the only truth is within you. And how do you connect with that?
Yeah, you either do or you don't. And that's basically what Glasser said. You can be depressed all you want, but it is a choice. And you are depressing. You are not depressed. I always have remembered that, even though it's been a number of years since I heard that. Now, before we get into the naturism and certainly your business and Reiki and all that you're doing with spiritual healing, people might wonder, wow, that Karen Lisa Seeber has a really good voice, like a really good voice for radio. Did Frank tweak the knobs a little bit to make her sound better? No, you actually had a career in radio at 97.7 in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and also 97.3 in Harrisburg, right?
Yes, I did. And thank you for that. It's been so long. It's like, I have a great face for radio.
That's what I say too about myself, not about you. But yeah,
Same.
you had a career in radio. It comes through in your voice without question. You know how to center your voice on the microphone, which is something very few people have as a natural ability. You have to learn how to do that and how to get the exact sound. But what did you do on the radio? A talk show, a music show? What'd you do?
I did a lot of different, well, worked at different stations, just a lot of music, country AM, some hot adult contemporary FMs, and I did have a brief talk show in Williamsport on one of the sister stations of the top 40 station I was a morning DJ for. And it was interesting because it was just interesting because I hadn't really been into following political current events. It was more pop culture, social kind of trends with my style of what I had to present on my show as far as news. And after leaving Williamsport, it was, and coming to the capital city of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg, kind of learning, leaning into that political knowledge stuff. So it kind of opened a door of awareness for me. So, but mostly it was music and doing live events and, you know, stirring up the crowd at comedy shows and all those guest appearances, movie premieres, a lot of fun stuff. It was a lot of fun. I'm always been about enjoying life and trying new things, whether it's working in radio or, during school working at a tattoo shop or the Walmart or pet food factory label inspector. Like I've done crazy, crazy jobs just because. So I kind of feel like that experience kind of shaped me to be open to naturism because it's that why not?
Yeah, that makes sense. And every situation I've been in life, it sounds like you're wired the same way. I try to learn something from it, not only something, but I try to learn as much as possible. And even when I was a kid, I started at age 14 being a baseball umpire. Now, the umpires, well, in fact, before I get into that, the station you were on in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, that's the home of the Little League World Series, right?
Yes, it is. I actually rented a house not even 2 miles from the stadium. Yeah, it was big stuff, big stuff. The Little League World Series for sure.
It was always my dad's goal. He was a manager and later the president of the league. He had two goals. One was to manage a team that went to Williamsport. That never happened. And then the second one was take a trip to Williamsport and just spend a week there, watching games. Unfortunately, that never happened. But one of these days I'll get there. But I became a baseball umpire at age 14. Now, as the expression, kill the ump, you need glasses, buddy, that kind of stuff. Yeah, at age 14, that's a little tough to take because you're not really prepared for that. But I remember thinking, even at 14, I knew what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to be in leadership and, be kind of high up the chain in that regard. And I thought, well, even though I hate this, not the umping, but the abuse, I said, it's probably good training for when I become a leader. And sure enough, as I got into adulthood and got into leadership, and people take all kinds of shots at you. It's like, you kidding me? I used to be an umpire at age 14. Nothing you can do to hurt me. So whether you're working at Walmart or the plant where you're inspecting labels, whatever, you learned something from every experience, didn't you?
Absolutely. And the thing I learned the most, because I've always observed people and their behavior. I've always, I'm an only child, so growing up, my best friends were, books, movies, TV, a lot of sci-fi stuff and mystery stuff. So that kind of, so as an adult, I was like, oh yeah, ancient aliens and all that crazy stuff. Love it, love it, love it. But it's just kind of a similar experience, like you said. It's just like what is that called? When it's like you're being refined for the future, for a future role. So the more grief and challenges you get in the earlier years, you build that resilience
Yeah.
of, hey, my name's Karen. Come on.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting so much grief the last 5, 8 years or so that it's just like whatever, man. Call me whatever you want at this point. I mean, I do, you either accept the label or you don't. You could, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That's right. I've asked a number of people why the name Karen was chosen, and nobody has given me a good answer. Your name is Karen. Any clue as to why they picked on Karen as opposed to any other name available?
I've kind of pondered that, but I don't really have an answer. But my own personal thing is if you believe something and it makes you feel good, why not believe it? Kind
Right.
of a thing, because all truths are true in the eye of the beholder. So I could kind of take that in not necessarily an egoic way, but in a way to kind of cope or deal with life. It's like, hey, that's why it's the Karen thing. The universe is toughening you up for something. Because whatever we're going through these last decade or especially 5 years or so, it's absolutely, yeah, like spiritual warfare. We see all kinds of crazy stuff going on in this world, people acting strange, I guess. So it's so I feel very called to kind of boldly step into, ooh, who wants to do a business that's like the niche of the meditation and healing is about naturism?
Yeah.
Like, who does that? I love it. I love being out there. I love how it makes me feel. I love connecting with the energy of the forest and the trees and the air, like all of it. And I feel that if I could inspire or encourage someone just to try it and just, because people are programmed with fear,
Yeah.
fear of new things, fear of change. What I do my best to remind people is that change is inevitable. So you can either resist it and it will be painful, or you can face it and see where the pieces are going and pick and choose kind of, okay, I like this, I like that. I'm just going to go that direction. Things are moving. So if you stand still or resist, it's just causing pain. So that's where the Buddhism stuff comes in. It's just allow, surrender. This is what it is. We're always creating in the now. So what we're facing in the physical world has already been done. It's like attacking the mirror. You can't change what is, but you can change what will be in your life through the focus of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So that's my whole basic philosophy of the Nudist Buddhist program that I plan to really dig into in 2000. Oh man, is it already almost 2026?
It is.
How did
We're
that happen?
yeah, like coming up soon. I want to get into the whole naked naturism stuff in a minute, but the last thing on radio, since you and I were both in terrestrial radio for a while, to the listener, it always sounds smooth and easy. You probably said stuff like, good morning, listening to WVRT in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Glad to have you with us. Let's play a music by, Whitney Houston or whatever you played. And it just sounds kind of cool and breezy and relaxed. What people don't know is a radio studio is, if you ever been to the local zoo, multiply it by 100. You have the producer in your ear. You have the station manager walking in, handing you a memo. You have all kinds of stuff going on, don't you? It's not just as peaceful as it sounds. It's your job to make it sound peaceful, but it's far from that, isn't it?
Yes. And having that experience in radio where people don't see your surroundings or what's going on, it really brought my awareness as far as spirituality is understanding all is not what it sounds like or what it looks like that a lot of people wear masks or just like pretending to be someone they're not, or you know being at the studio even though you're out late at a bar doing a promotion for something, or a visiting celebrity, and to be there at 5 a.m. playing music, being like, yes, welcome to another day, with the super hype and happy. And then as soon as I turn the mic off, I put my head down on the table. It's like, I'm so tired. I didn't get to bed till 2 and now I'm here at 5. And yeah, it's fun. But yeah, just understanding that everything has behind the scene mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And with spirituality, like the matrix, or just understanding, how the cosmos works and how you and your spiritual energy can do it. It's so and I love the radio analogy because it's what you put out is what you get back. Like, what are you tuned into?
Yeah, very well said. And there was a long time a radio guy, one of my favorites in another city. He was a local guy, but he just passed away last week at the age of 82. And he was on the radio almost until the end. I think he took like the last year off because he was in bad health. But they wrote about, several articles about him, just how gifted he was as a broadcaster. And his mission in life, he said, was to talk to as many people as possible and block out the world. So while he was on the air, he knew he was talking to several thousand, if not several 100,000 people at the same time. They couldn't talk back, but he knew that he was providing something for them, some level of comfort, information, entertainment, whatever. And so it is a gift. Do you think you'll ever return to it, part time or full time, anywhere down the road?
I do intend to be broadcasting messages of like encouragement, upliftment, hope. One of my personal stumbling blocks that I'm getting through is kind of the hesitancy to step back in to kind of like that spotlight, kind of, being someone that people listen to or go to for information or advice. So, and to me, I take that really seriously, but I also am getting over some resentment about the technology stuff. With everything going so AI and so, however, I feel the nudge more than ever to get back into doing something. Like I created a YouTube channel, but I have not yet done something. Just been trusting divine timing. It's like I plan to do it, but it's just a matter of getting the signal out there. And what I feel in this world is the signal is being corrupted with this false AI. Not that AI is horrible and evil, but I see it everywhere. And it's, you read them on social media. It's like, I know you didn't write that. You don't even know what that word means, let alone spell it correctly. But we need more authenticity and truth in this world, and that's where I'm feeling where my role will be, to be sharing messages online, but also really, I want to be in nature. I don't want cell phones and laptops and phones, and just be in nature, put it away and be with yourself. I want to show people how to break that technology addiction and kind of temper it and find a balance where it's not consuming their thoughts, because the algorithms are pretty much telling people what to think about and what to buy and who to like and who to not like,
I
which
know.
is insane that it has that much control over people that don't really think about it. And that was part of my spiritual awakening as well, is just seeing things in one place and then another place they're saying, no, well, that's not what happened. So, and not everybody is curious enough to go there and see, well, what is the truth? And that's where I feel like the naturism, how do you know? How do you know it's like, oh, a bunch of, hippies or, whatever?
Mhm.
But it's not. It's just about people being free and having a good time and meeting new friends at a level without all these false layers of ego and, job titles and income. It's just like, no, we're all just human beings enjoying an experience on earth.
Well, let's jump into the naturism thing now. I'm guessing, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong because we haven't discussed this. You did not grow up in a naturism household. You were an only child. You and your parents didn't hang out naked 24/7. But you told me before we started in 2009, somebody invited you to a naturist club, and you went, and within moments you realized what you've been missing out on. Maybe so. The first question is: did you grow up in a naturism household? Was nudity ever a thing or an issue, or was it banned, or how did that whole thing play out?
It wasn't a thing, but it also wasn't taboo. Like if my mom was like walking from the bathroom after a shower, like it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't addressed as any kind of a thing. It was just like, oh, you just didn't get dressed yet. Not a big deal.
So then you became an adult, but you didn't live clothes free day to day necessarily, even when you were alone. So what happened in 2009 to trigger this whole thing, and just take us through what happened to get you there and what happened when you got there?
What happened to get me into naturism was in 2009, I was laid off from a job I loved. I was just so out of sorts, like feeling all kinds of feelings like, wow, this was my career. This was my livelihood. This was a situation where I'd met my husband. So I got to see him in the same building and things like that. So it was just this whole, everything I thought about myself, I realized was tied up in my employment situation and my job title. And I never really had time away from working, 40, 50, 60 hours a week to realize, hey, do I really want to be doing this? Is it fulfilling? Is it, what I want to do? Because there's things, it was a lobbying organization, the state level AARP. So a lot of government, a lot of politics, lobbying, voting stuff. So I was getting a good lesson in that, because just the way that the organization leaned and the claims that were made, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I didn't quite understand why it didn't things didn't make sense until like much later. But it was just devastating to kind of lose my livelihood, no warning, no kind of review. It was done at a national level and saying, well, if you have this job title, it is eliminated. So I've been there 8 years. I loved it. Volunteer recruitment and training for them to go visit. I was one of those people that organized the 2,000 people to go to the state capitol with their T-shirts and their signs to say, "Hey, we need to pass this." I think, yeah, that was back in the Medicare Part D debacle, which was funny enough because the organization, I guess, endorsed the policy at nighttime, like didn't tell any of the employees at all. So I showed up one morning and everybody was calling and screaming, "Why are you supporting?" I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Because you realize that no matter, all these businesses and corporations, sometimes you're just a foot soldier.
Well, yeah, and sometimes that's a hard lesson to learn. You think you're such an important part of the business, and then they come to you at noon and say, "You got 30 minutes to clear out your desk. You're done," even though you did nothing wrong. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I thought I was busting tail to make this a great place, which you were, but you're also expendable. We're all expendable in whatever we do, and that's not an easy lesson to learn. So you get laid off, you're devastated, you love this job, you were making a difference in the world. They cut you anyway because of your job title. How did that lead to naturism?
Well, I finally had free time to to go and do something, and I had a friend that was going down there and was pretty nervous about it, and said, "Hey, do you want to go with me?" Okay, why not? What else am I going to do? Sit around at home and cry? Like, no, you have to take action and do something different to get a different result. And
Yeah.
I always knew that in my head intellectually, but actually taking the steps to go and just jump in and do it. I was like, why not? I don't know anybody there who, like, at this point, why not? Everything I thought was important to me is now like not there for me anymore. So why not?
Yeah. And if you saw somebody from work there, it wouldn't matter because you were out of work anyway. So you weren't going to get fired. There was nothing to get fired from, right?
Exactly. It's like you lose those little incentives of like, oh, don't do that. Don't post. Yeah, you don't want to be seen with those people. Yeah. And more as years go on and as I get older and more life experience, it's like, wow, it doesn't matter. There's always someone that will resonate with like where you're at and what you're doing and understanding that each of us was meant to be our own individual selves and not trying to fit in some mold of something, whether it's a job, a relationship, a home, a car, whatever it is. Those things don't define you. It's your soul. It's your, yeah, it's finding the nature of who you are. And
Yeah.
that's what's important. And that's what opens up the miracles in your life.
There you go. So what happened? You get to this naturist club, which, by the way, I believe was Pine Tree Associates, right?
Yes. Pine Tree Associates.
Yeah. So you get there, and as I recall you telling me before we started the interview, you put a blanket down on the grass, you got on it, and you just kind of got on your back, and within moments you were asleep, the most peaceful, pretty much you'd ever been, right?
Yeah. I can't, and I'm not one that falls asleep easily. I mean, I sleep well at night, but like during the day, it was kind of like, things to do, the monkey mind, gotta go, 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 do things, get this done, that deadline, that bill, whatever. And yeah, just getting there. And I didn't even wander around or tour right away. I just, checked into the cabin, put out a blanket, and just sat down and fell asleep, like dead asleep, middle of the day in the sunshine in the forest. And it was the most refreshing, clearing nap I ever had. And it was just amazing. Like sleeping in the nude, in the sunlight, in the forest. And that was amazing medicine for me.
Wow. Now, was that your first time being completely clothes free in front of other people, other than intimate partners?
Yes.
It was.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I'd never now I'm trying to think if crazy, crazy college parties. They're like, no, honestly, I've never did it before. So and just realizing it was fun and the
yeah.
people were so friendly and happy. because you're unburdened by these layers of illusion of like, well, this is who you are, this is how you're supposed to dress, this is how you're supposed to speak, or this is the kind of car you must drive because this is your profession, kind of a thing. And just really letting it all go. And that one nap really woke something up in me. I
Right.
was like, wow, like the less I hold on to and the less I have on me,
Yeah.
let's explore this because it felt really good.
Yeah, instantly so. Now, what did your friend say? You said a friend took you there, and you had never done this before. He or she had. What was his or her reaction when, my gosh, Karen's totally naked, sleeping on the grass in front of everybody? This is great. Did they say anything to you after the fact or what?
No, not really. She was more there to because, someone else invited, like, a guy girl thing kind of. So I was just like backup support, encouraging someone like, oh, it's not so bad, but also to keep an eye on because it was getting to know new people. And she was just felt more comfortable having a girlfriend along. So
Well, for lack of a better term, was she proud of you that you just took to it right away so easily?
I think well, not really. Because I am pretty, open to doing things. It was just so natural. I don't think she was surprised. It was just like, oh, hey, yeah, I knew you'd like it. That's why I invited you. Like, no big deal. It was just, it was natural. It wasn't like a big revelation for her or anybody, but for me, the revelation was like, wow, this feels so much better. The air and the sun is just like directly on me. I'm so connected to nature, and this is so healing and relaxing. I was like, wow. And this was all before I even started learning Reiki or
Mm.
concepts of natural law and philosophy.
That's what most people don't know when they first try it. And then it feels unbelievably great. And they're not really sure why. And you've kind of delved into that a little bit. When it's all natural, the sun is on you, the breeze is on you. That's natural. You can't buy the sun or the wind at a store. It's all natural. And when you're in your most natural state, well, hello, 1 plus 1 always equals 2, doesn't it?
Yeah, it should, but yeah, everyone argues and debates everything these days. It's funny you'd say that because somewhere I was like, someone's like, 2 plus 2 is 5 sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, I've learned to just be like, hey, maybe,
I forgot who
maybe.
that was. It was an actor who said that. He said he no longer argues with anybody about anything. If they say 2 plus 2 equals 5, he'll say, "Oh, that's terrific. Have a great day," and then he just doesn't get into it because, well, that's a different topic altogether. But it's really hard to have a discussion with people anymore because if they disagree with you, boom, they go for the jugular. You're a fool. I can't believe you're so ridiculously not intelligent to believe that. It's like, wait a minute, I'm reasonably intelligent. And I put this together with facts and use discernment and wisdom and everything else. And it used to be people would listen. Okay, I totally disagree with you, but tell me why you think that. Maybe I'm missing something here. But we don't get that anymore. And now it's just boom, 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 firing back and forth. So whoever that actor was, it's somebody well known. I just can't remember his name. That's showing some wisdom. Like this is just going to go downhill quickly. So 2 plus 2 equals 5. Great. And have a great day. How about that? It makes sense, right?
Pretty much. It lessens my stress because yeah, that's been a skill I've been really honing the last several years. Like it's not worth debating. Like all truths are true in the eye of the beholder. Someone believes something but unfortunately the program has people like, no, this good, this bad, you bad, this bad, this person good, based on zero analysis of anything. And I feel that, I love being a nudist in the forest, enjoying life and trying to inspire people, try to help them feel better, feel more hopeful, more joyful, just more grateful about opportunities in their life, but to also educate them about you have the power to shift it and steer the ship of your life. And do you want to keep living your life in accordance to what the TV or your social media tells you how to live your life and what to do and what to wear and how to treat people? Or do you want to actually live your own life and use that life as the gift that it is to fulfill your purpose on this earth. And not everybody's there, and not everybody speaks the same language or are open to learning something new and maybe changing their mind and saying, hey, you know what, never considered it, or I never saw that clip in its full entire unedited state. So perhaps, and that's dissolving the ego. Is like, I'm always right. I'm like, I'm not right. I know nothing. I rely on my higher power to guide me, and that gut feeling, and just allowing life to unfold. Like, things don't happen to us, they happen around us and for us. And our life experiences, you can cry about them and be all mad and resentful and adopt a victim mindset. And then, oh, you're a victim your entire life because of that one thing that happened. And that they choose. Everything is a choice. People choose that victim label of poor me, and give me help, give me this. Instead, like, it's already within you, and they're disconnected from the power of their conscious soul to be able to say, no, that was something that happened to me. That does not define me. And so that was like my biggest healing moment after being laid off, is you're like, oh, being laid off does not define me as some kind of a loser, or I'm worthless, or I'm stupid. Like, those things go through your head. Like, why? I was rejected. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And understanding that it doesn't matter why. It happened. It's over. Face it. Process it, deal with it, let it go. And naturism helped me let it go and just realize, hey, there's this whole beautiful world out here. Why am I obsessing over this one little negative thing that happened?
Can and will ruin your life if you allow it to. And it goes back to what Dr. William Glasser said, and you talked just a moment ago. It's a choice. You can be a victim. You can be in the victim moment. We're all victims at one point or another, but do we stay there? 10 years later, yeah, I'm still a victim. 20 years later, I'm still a victim. Well, then you're just going to have not the greatest life, at least in my view. And you can say, okay, I was a victim. I got done wrong by this person or these people, whatever. What can I learn from it so it doesn't happen again? What can I do to stay away from those people? What can I learn from this? And that's what makes you a better and stronger person moving forward. And it sounds like we both have learned that. And without question, naturism helps a lot, because it takes us right back to that core that we talk about so much on the show. The very terrific Karen Lisa Seeber from Pennsylvania, from a great full heart, really gets the whole aspect of life itself, as well as clothes-free living for all the right reasons. And on next Saturday's show, which will be episode 155, part 2 of my interview with Karen Lisa Seeber. And before we head for the hills until our New Year's Eve show, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's good to be back. It's been so long.
30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed talking to Karen. And she had, as you know from the interview, a career in radio. She was actually on terrestrial radio doing a show live all of the time, and all that goes with it, the marketing, the getting out in the community. So she gets the whole radio thing. But now she gets the whole naturism thing, and she's out there just trying to help as many people as she can as well. Any thoughts?
Well, I think I loved her interview, and I loved hearing about her efforts and the things that she does. And, again, this is just a great community, because there's people from all walks of life with all interests, and we learn from each and every one of them. So it's been great.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have part 2 with her next week on Saturday's show, the first Saturday show of 2026. And Lisa, you and I will get together, though, on New Year's Eve coming up on Wednesday.
Yes.
To recap July through December of 2025. It's going to be another Wednesday extravaganza. How about that?
It certainly is, and they just keep coming, so that's a great thing.
That's right. All right, Lisa Monroe, let's head for the hills until our New Year's Eve show, and we'll recap July through December of 2025. As long as you promise to stay clothes-free between now and then, we will do that. Is that a deal?
It's a deal, and you have to agree to the same deal.
Absolutely. Stay clothes-free, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 153 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.